The wind howled through the cracks of the decaying building, whispering like a voice long forgotten. Deep in the heart of the countryside, surrounded by forgotten fields and endless trees, stood an abandoned asylum. Its very presence sent chills down the spine of anyone who dared to approach. Built in the 1950s, it had once been home to those society feared the most: mentally unstable patients whose lives were caught in a web of confusion, torment, and terror. Among the names that echoed in the halls of this crumbling institution was that of Dr. Richard Wystan, a man revered for his groundbreaking work in psychology. He was known for his unorthodox methods. Unlike most doctors of his time, Dr. Wystan didn't just study the mind, he sought to understand it on a deeper level, to explore the shadows where madness and sanity blended. His patients, however, were often left to wonder, was Dr. Wystan a healer or something far darker? Emily's investigation. Fast forward 25 years, and the asylum was nothing more than a forgotten ruin, its story buried under layers of dust and decay. Yet, some stories refuse to remain silent. Emily Wright, a curious and determined journalist, found herself standing before the crumbling gates of the asylum, drawn to its dark history. She had heard whispers about the place, whispers of patients whose minds seemed not just broken, but haunted by something beyond understanding. And the most chilling rumor of all, Dr. Wystan had crossed a line between healing and the supernatural. Inside, the silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of Emily's footsteps echoing down the long, empty hallways. The air smelled of mildew and old paper, and the walls seemed to close in with every step she took. As she ventured deeper into the asylum, Emily felt as if someone was watching her. In the basement, amidst the dust and the remnants of forgotten things, Emily uncovered something unexpected: an old tape recorder. Beside it was a yellowed cassette tape, its label faded but still legible. Dr. Wystan's Sessions, 1958. The date sent a shiver through her spine. With trembling hands, she inserted the tape and pressed play. The tape recording. The crackling sound of the tape was followed by the deep, calm voice of Dr. Wystan, though the words that followed were anything but calm. I've witnessed the unimaginable within these walls. Shadows move in the corners of the mind, and the screams of patients echo through eternity. But there was one patient whose mind harbored darkness unlike anything I've ever encountered. Emily's heart pounded in her chest as she leaned closer, hanging on every word. It was a woman named Sarah. She arrived here in 1956, her mind splintered by fear and paranoia. But I believed I could heal her, heal what was broken inside. I thought I understood what I was dealing with, but I was wrong. The darkness she carried was not just in her mind, it was within her. And when I tried to confront it, that's when the shadows started moving. The tape crackled, then fell silent. Emily's pulse raced as she rewound the tape, playing it again and again. The voice of Dr. Wystan, so calm, so steady, held a terrifying undercurrent of fear. As she continued her investigation, Emily discovered more fragments of Dr. Wystan's twisted experiments. The asylum had been far from a typical mental institution. Wystan had used methods that were considered radical, pushing patients into extreme psychological states, trying to break through their barriers by forcing them to confront their deepest fears. But it wasn't just the patients who were affected. One by one, Emily uncovered reports, journals, and forgotten letters detailing how Dr. Wystan's work had begun to blur the lines between science and the supernatural. His patients spoke of visions, shadows moving just out of sight, whispers in the dark, and an overwhelming sense of being watched. Some claimed they saw figures in the corners of their rooms, figures that seemed to come alive when the lights went out. As Emily pieced together the puzzle, she realized that Dr. Wystan's obsession with Sarah had led him down a dangerous path, one that had crossed into realms beyond human understanding. And now, the very same darkness he had tried to cure had taken root within the asylum itself. Then, the tape crackled again, and Dr. Wystan's voice filled the room once more, a tremor of desperation in his tone. You shouldn't have played the tape, he warned, his voice now distant, echoing as if from another time. Now you know, and you must leave this place. It's too late for me. It's too late for anyone who stays here. Emily froze, Her blood ran cold as she realized the chilling truth. Dr. Wystan's research had not only uncovered the supernatural, it had unleashed it. That night, Emily couldn't sleep. The asylum's dark secrets had found their way into her mind. And now, no matter where she turned, she felt the suffocating presence of something lurking just behind her. The shadows in her room stretched unnaturally, twisting and stretching as if alive. The whispers she had heard about the asylum began to feel less like stories and more like warnings. Emily had uncovered a truth far more terrifying than she had ever imagined, and now, it seemed, the truth had claimed her as its next victim. Dr. Wystan's voice echoed in her mind, the warning from the tape never leaving her thoughts. You've unleashed it, and now it will never let you go. The darkness that had once filled the halls of the asylum had followed Emily out. It had awakened, and it was hungry. The questions lingered. Did Dr. Wystan truly unleash evil in his quest for understanding? Or had he merely glimpsed it only to become its first victim? And now, as Emily stared into the shadows of her own home, she knew one thing for certain. The asylum had never truly been abandoned. It had only waited for her.